Now, like most experienced drivers, I knew that Uber Eats does not like food delivery drivers, especially when we act as independent contractors, which we are. But when the CEO of Uber Eats, Dara, he sent me an email with a shocking announcement in there. So I started to soften my heart a little bit and realized that maybe there's hope because of the changes that they're promising to do. Ultimately, time is going to tell to see if these changes are lasting. And since I mentioned hope, there is some hope out there. So I'm still going to give you some couple things to watch out for. And then I'm going to give you 2 things that you can and must do to help ensure that these changes last. So the very first generalization, and I found this to be true doing this part-time for 7 years, Uber Eats likes to make food delivery drivers feel like we're being listened to. But when it actually comes down to it, Uber Eats has always and continued to always do what they want to do for their business. And in my opinion, they're just giving lip service to the drivers. So in light of Dara's email, maybe things are going to change. Now, before I go on with some cringeworthy details, please share in the comments below. Share, do you think that Uber is going to follow through with what they promised? And also in your comment, please share how long you've been doing food delivery on Uber Eats. When all drivers see our comments, I think they're going to get an idea right now going into these recent changes. Do we think it's likely to happen? So your feedback is going to help all drivers who see those comments. Thank you. Before I get into those 2 generalizations, you just need to realize that Uber Eats likes to make us feel like we're being listened to. That's been my experience as I'm doing this part-time for 7 years. And to be fair, I have not ever taken part in or wanted to be a part of those driver rep meetings where across the United States, there's a variety of drivers like you and I that hear the feedback of other drivers and then pass it on to Uber Eats for change. Who knows? Maybe some of those changes came from that forum. The real proof if Uber Eats cares about drivers is our pay and the ability to be on that app and to have the flexibility to do as we please because we're independent contractors. We're not employees of Uber Eats. That's the real core issue to everything. The biggest thing that really irks drivers is unfair deactivations. This is how you quickly realize that you mean nothing to Uber Eats. So Uber Eats has promised to deal with deactivations in a little more fair manner before, I think, anytime within this last year. But then in this email, they also mentioned how there's going to be a spot where you can look up some documents or see specific information, why you're deactivated. And who knows, maybe this only applies to rideshare. We'll find out. It'd be nice, though, if it also includes food delivery drivers. Previously, when you're deactivated, they don't clearly tell you why. They don't give you a specific trip or any information that you can use to defend yourself. It's basically you have to go back and think about what happened, what could have gone wrong, and then do your claim with that. But more on that in a little bit. The second thing, this is huge. This is really sad, actually. Their customer service is severely lacking. It's just absolutely horrible. So the first thing that's really hard is they've outsourced it overseas. English is not the primary language, and the people they hire, really, I would say most of them cannot speak English effectively because they don't understand what I'm telling them, no matter how clearly or slowly I speak. Instead, what they're actually doing, and I wouldn't be surprised if Uber Eats does this on purpose, their goal is to get us off the phone, off the chat as quickly as possible. Another thing that's really frustrating is they will spam just a ton of chat messages to you. No matter what you talk about, it's not even the real issue. But in their minds, if they send you this message about something that has nothing to do with your order, then they're off the hook. Goodbye, get off the phone. And of course, without any pay. So this has been so frustrating over time. I just trust that in light of this email, which I'm going to go through here shortly, I just trust that they actually are trying to treat us better. So again, time will tell. What can we do about all of this? There are 2 things. The very first thing is apparently getting bad press really helps motivate Uber Eats to change. Because clearly, well, I want to say clearly, in my experience, I have not found them to do anything that I recommended with the customer service people. They just don't. If anything, Uber Eats is all about themselves, and they're trying to just run their business and have as little interaction with drivers as possible. So I would say that is still a factor. So there are forums like this on YouTube. There's Reddit. There's other online venues that people know about that drivers get on there and complain. And I would imagine that Uber Eats, assuming they're smart, they should be doing research on who their competitors are, what's going on in the market. And then I'm also pretty certain they are aware of different gig tubers, the gig economy like Uber Eats. And they do watch videos like this so that they can hear directly from the public, the drivers that are out there, what's going on. And then they can read all the comments, and hopefully they can just make wise decisions and realize this is an issue, let's fix it. And then, of course, if the mainstream media ever picks up on a message, that makes Uber Eats look really bad. And anything involving driver safety, people getting killed, just crazy stories of what drivers do with the food, with the customer, all of that bad press, that's something that Uber Eats really cares about. So here's what I think. This is good. We should peacefully protest. We should write articles. We should get the information out there. That way Uber Eats can be aware of it, because they really don't want to hear about it when we chat with them or call them or write a letter. Instead, the public square is where they make changes or they don't. So I think this is a continued good way of getting that information to them. The main thing is when we do that, just be factual, take the emotion out of it, and just give solutions on what Uber Eats can do to fix things. The second thing that you can and must do is don't get complacent. And this is where I'm going to start going through that email with you. You want to make sure that Uber Eats doesn't do I sent an email, or we had a campaign, an advertisement, and now all the drivers went back to sleep. We got busy doing orders and we forgot what Uber Eats promised to do. So don't do that. Remember what they promised and then follow up with them until they change it. So let's go through this email. Looking at the email here from Dara, obviously all the drivers got this. There's something in here. It talks about a tip delivery guarantee. So that's nice. If a customer takes back the tip, if it says guaranteed, including the tip, then Uber Eats is going to cover it should something go wrong. That's interesting. And we don't have the time to get into that, but okay. Next, cancellations. This is a good one. So it says that we're protected from occasional cancellations that are beyond your control, such as when someone else picks up the order or the restaurant is unexpectedly closed, and it won't count towards our cancellation rate. Now, I will say, I have never, ever had any of my negative ratings changed based on any information that I provided to Uber Eats. All they do is hear me, ignore me, and even if they say it doesn't count against me, the second we get off that phone or the chat and I get in my app, there goes another percentage. So in my experience, this has never happened. This will be something that you should follow up on. If we do the traditional go to the restaurant and then apparently someone stole the order, they already picked up the order. In that case, that would be the time to fight and say, hey, you said that you weren't going to count this against me. But here's a problem. Words matter. So they're covering themselves in a couple ways. What does occasional mean? By whose definition? The second one, and I think I saw this by clicking learn more, so I don't have it right here, but I will put it up right now. It basically said that they're also going to improve their algorithm to detect fraud better. So I've already known, and I'm sure you may have known for years, no human beings involved. So a lot of these deactivations that are unfair, they talk about fraud. And it's probably just their AI from the last few years just deciding if we're doing something wrong or not. And obviously, when we get deactivated, we're the ones that lose. And if it's a computer glitch, who cares? So they put that in writing, and I'm pretty sure it's in the learn more area. saying that they're going to improve their algorithm to better detect fraud. And that way, that also ties in with our cancellations, something that's out of our control. So right there, they put that in writing. And now you can look back and think of all the times where we've assumed or hoped, hey, is this a bot talking to me? Is it AI? Is it the algorithm? Now you can get a better idea of what's really been going on. And it's probably just going to be more like that, less human involvement. So you're still on your own. And then one quick part here. I think when they talk about the fairer pay, that's mostly dealing with rideshare. Because when I clicked on there to learn more, it just acted like when you get a ride request. Well, how about food delivery? Where's our fairer pay? And that's not just counting the tip guarantee. So you can see that's a deeper issue. And then here's a real important thing. So just when we get all positive, like maybe Uber Eats is changing for the better, look at the bottom of this email. Availability of products and features varies by market. Check your driver app to find out what's offered near you. So just because they said all these changes, an easy out for them would be, oh, no, that doesn't happen in California. Oh, that doesn't happen in this city. So even though they set this email out, they're not actually going to do what they said. Now, just looking at it from a customer's perspective, why can't Uber Eats roll out everything to all the US markets at one time? Is there really that big of a difference of food delivery between each state? I would say no. Yes, I do know about Prop 22 with some extra pay, but that should not influence how we all deliver food. It's not a hard concept. And if anything, I think this just shows how they can divide up drivers and basically do what they want in every market. And then anytime we complain, they just say, oh, no, that's not available in your market, or that's a pilot test. You get the idea. So overall, I have been frustrated with them. I am softening my heart, giving a chance for Dara and the team to follow through with the promises they're making now. Because again, I have never had a rating change, whether it was my fault or not. No matter what I said, it stayed. So all I would do, and this is my previous advice, you're wasting your time. Just get back on the road, do more orders, make more money, and eventually that bad rating will drop off. Another thing to consider with all these wonderful app updates, the main thing that's the most important is dealing with our pay, dealing with driver safety, real important issues. Instead, it seems like Uber Eats is showing us this pretty color, a cartoon graphic of metrics that actually don't really matter that much to us. Sure, if you get if you cancel enough orders, you can get deactivated. But why wouldn't Uber Eats put the effort into our pay, making every offer a profitable one? Why do they rely on us or try to trick us into taking all offers? They're in firm control. They could just make a fair pay for every offer. Why don't they put the effort into that instead of into something that kind of doesn't matter? Earlier, I shared the news about unfair deactivations, and eventually, when you drive long enough, it's going to happen to you too. And it's great that they sent the email and the information promising to have a fairer process or a little box where you can see the documents of what you're being accused of. But when this happens, you are going to be so angry and frustrated because most likely you've done nothing wrong. And it's just the algorithm that did something and has been coded differently to detect fraud, which would be you, the driver. It is horrible. Wouldn't it be nice to know what actually happens if and when you get deactivated on Uber Eats? I've got good news. It was a horrible experience for me, but I documented when I got deactivated off of Uber Eats. And I went through the entire appeal process, and I'm going to give you tips and screenshots of what to do should this horrible thing happen to you. So watch that video next, and I'll see you there.